Welcome back to Real Estate This Week, the online news program for those who call Staten Island home. And thank you for tuning in to our third broadcast segment. This is Hannah J. with RealEstateSINY.com. First on the agenda today, the city takes a step toward making homes safer. The New York City Department of Buildings is issuing its 9th annual no-penalty retaining wall inspection program. Under this program, homeowners are eligible for a free inspection of their retaining walls, and they cannot face penalties if the walls are damaged. The program was created after the collapse of a retaining wall above Henry Hudson Parkway in 2005. Two similar incidents have occurred on Staten Island since then, first in Dongan Hills Colony in 2007, and later in Stapleton during Hurricane Irene in 2011. Every homeowner is required by law to maintain a retaining wall which is up to standard. A home's retaining wall is built to hold soil in place that would otherwise shift to its natural incline. It's normal for these walls to weaken over the years with seasonal changes in temperature, and the result may be a bulging or leaning wall which compromises the safety of buildings around it. You can request an inspection by calling 311 through May 31st. Imagine receiving a settlement check after a wrongful eviction, only to have the check bounce. Well, that's exactly what many homeowners are facing. Last week, countless citizens from around the country who were granted settlements from the nation's largest banks went to cash their checks and were told that there were insufficient funds available. In total, $3.6 billion are to be given to 1.4 million struggling homeowners from lenders who the court determined had wrongfully evicted the residents back in 2009 and 2010. The investigation had been ongoing for more than 2 years, and the checks have been delayed since January. Rust Consulting, the firm responsible for distributing the checks, allegedly failed to move the settlement money into a central account before issuing the checks. The Federal Reserve assured that Rust's missteps had been corrected and that they will monitor future activity more closely. It is unknown how many homeowners have still not received their long-awaited settlement money, though at least 12 cases have come to light according to Rust Consulting. Optimism abounds in the real estate marketplace for the first time in years. According to a Gallup poll released April 18th, the majority of Americans believe home prices are on the rise. In a national poll, 51% of participants said they believe local home prices in their area will go up this year. And this is the first time since 2007 that Americans have been this positive. The highest percentages of those polled who believe home prices will rise are located in the western United States, and those in cities or suburbs have more confidence in their home values than residents of small towns. In 2005, before the housing collapse, the number of respondents who believed home values were going up was at 70%. In another part of the recent poll, 73% of respondents believe now is a good time to buy a home, the highest since 2003. Even throughout the housing crisis, participants stating it was a good time to buy never dipped below 50%, suggesting that Americans generally like the idea of buying a home regardless of market conditions. Storm survivors from the North Shore are taking a stand against their building's managers. 10 angry residents of a St. George cooperative are suing the co-op, its managing agent, and the board of directors for inadequately preventing and repairing subsequent storm damage. The plaintiffs were all living on the bottom floor of 10 Bay Street Landing when Hurricane Sandy hit last winter. Intense storm surge caused water to pour in through the outer doors and ventilation sleeves, and water rose from overflowing toilets. Though the co-op's owner did repair some of the damage, like the wiring and heating units, they refused to replace the ruined floors, and residents also claim that mold contamination still persists. Court papers state that the neighboring building at 20 Bay Street Landing, owned by the same corporation, was protected far better with a barricade of sand and concrete bags. In addition, plaintiffs allege that the flood insurance was largely insufficient for a harborside condo, and that they have yet to see any of the insurance payout. The defendants, among them BSL1 Owners Corporation, are being sued for $1.4 million after refusing to settle out of court. Authorities cracked down after a local tragedy. The Department of Transportation has installed zone watch cameras to monitor traffic around construction sites after the death of a crew member. Back in 2005, Nick Antico was operating a jackhammer to repair a portion of Slauson Avenue when he was struck by a speeding SUV. Michael Moschella, Antico's co-worker who was standing beside him, sustained injuries so serious that he still undergoes daily physical therapy 8 years later. This incident and the more than 20 employee injuries since 2009 has spurred the Department of Transportation to place special zone watch cameras at roadside construction sites. The cameras record drivers' activity and a monitor displays the speed of the passing cars. The technology is used more as a deterrent than as a speed trap, designed to make drivers aware of their speed and driving habits around construction workers. The Department of Transportation states that the safety of construction workers is the highest priority. Soon, all 12 local crews will have these cameras set up, thanks to $250,000 in public funding allocated by Borough President Molinaro. Elementary students in the North Shore will now have to travel to attend special classes for the gifted and talented. Last September's kindergarten class at PS 29's Gifted and Talented program will be the last, the Department of Education confirmed. Future enrollment at the Castleton Corners School is estimated to exceed the school's capacity, so the program will be moved to a larger building in Graniteville in PS 60. Since 2008, enrollment at PS 29's Gifted and Talented program has risen by almost 50%, and many incoming kindergartners have already been overflowed to other schools in their zone. DOE spokesman Devin Puglia assures the community that this plan will better serve gifted students, ensuring access to a high-quality education for all students in the zone. Though this decision creates more space for children pursuing the program, not everyone is happy about the change. Many parents will not be able to make the trip to Graniteville every morning, especially if older siblings are already enrolled in PS 29. Concerned parents have been writing and calling the Department of Education, hoping for a change. The other gifted and talented programs currently in operation are located at PS 69 in the Mid-Island and PS 50, PS 3, PS 8, and PS 53 on the South Shore. Clean energy will soon be a reality in Staten Island. A New York City Department of Environmental Protection wastewater treatment plant in Port Richmond will soon bear hundreds of solar panels, producing around 2 megawatts of solar power for the plant to use. The new solar panels will grace the rooftops of the plant, as well as a maintenance building at the Staten Island Ferry. Mayor Michael Bloomberg has resolved to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 30% throughout the city by the year 2017 as part of the Plan NYC program. The solar panels on the wastewater treatment plant will account for about 10% of the total energy used by the plant. And while this is only a small fraction, this means 169 homes will now be powered by solar energy alone. The program, financed privately by Tangent Energy Solutions of Pennsylvania, will create 40 new green jobs, and the city will be purchasing the energy generated by the solar panels. Staten Island campers may have a reason to celebrate. A $19 million grant to the Environmental Protection Fund was just approved this year, and enthusiasts of Pouch Camp want a piece of it. The grant money will be allocated to preserve open space, and Assemblyman Michael Cusick and Joe Borelli are part of a movement to save 25 acres of Pouch Camp from residential development. The campground is frequented by Boy Scouts, and the Greenbelt site is an important part of the community for many who hail from our borough. In 2009, the Greater New York Councils of Boy Scouts of America stated that they would sell the 120-acre preserve to private developers if the city did not provide conservation aid. In 2011, a three-phase agreement was reached with the Trust for Public Land to protect 40 acres. Campers at Pouch have access to various sites for a wide array of activities, including canoeing, rock climbing, and mountain biking, and there's even a geology lab. Though nothing is set in stone, a $5 million grant is a strong possibility, which will preserve an additional 25 acres of Pouch Camp. And finally, mortgage stats from the week of April 18th. All mortgage rates fell further this past week. The 30-year fixed rate fell to 3.61%, and the 15-year fixed rate went down to 2.85%, with the 5-year adjustable rate falling to 2.66%. The 15-year fixed and the 5-year adjustable rates are the lowest they have been overall in 2013 due to an uncertain economy. Economic recovery was moving slowly, especially in March, when the Consumer Price Index dropped 0.2%. However, gains were made in retail industries related to housing. Furniture store sales saw an increase in 0.9%, and home improvement stores saw a sales increase of 0.1%. In tandem with falling mortgage rates, there has been a 4.8% increase in mortgage applications. 75% of the total mortgage applications were from people refinancing their homes. Though no certain projections can be made concerning mortgage rates, fluctuations in the near future will likely be subtle. Check back with trendingsiny.com next week for the most updated mortgage rates. And that's all we have for this week. Thank you so much for watching this week's presentation of Real Estate This Week. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and you can read our blog by visiting trendingsiny.com. Once again, Hannah J., realestatesiny.com.